Hi, this is Ushio, and welcome back to Sable's Grimoire. We are finally about to go on our very first hunt. Apparently there's some kind of monster out here, and we don't know what it is. We gotta look for its poop, and hopefully that is gonna give us the directions we need to try and find what this thing is. Following a lengthy trip in a bus for the senior students, my partner and I arrive at our destination. We are dropped off on the side of a road a short distance from the city gates. Using my terminal as a navigation tool, we walk deeper into the forest, gradually encroaching upon the last known whereabouts of the monster. Man, did it have to be so far out of the way? These legs were made for sitting, not walking. To be honest, I do prefer to hunt from the air, rather than walking around on the ground like this. But considering how close we are to the city, I probably shouldn't. Good call. So, what do you think? This is the spot, according to the coordinates Coco gave me. Do you see, hear or smell anything? I mean, nothing really. There are too many different smells out here. Even if the monster is around here somewhere, I need more to go on. Maybe some of its fur. I don't know, something to distinguish its scent from the rest. What are you, a bloodhound? I didn't really expect you to sniff it out. If you don't track prey with your nose, how else are you going to do it? Well, there is one method that comes to mind. I focus my eyes to the point where I can see that which is normally hidden. Coursing through the forest are thick, ether-rich ley lines, all relatively undisturbed as they flow freely all around us. In a forest like this, supposedly devoid of demi-humans and magical beasts, it's no surprise that the ether seems more or less untouched. Without any magic users to absorb their energy or manipulate them directly, the ley lines are able to flow endlessly without being hindered in the slightest. However, as thick and pure as the ether flowing here may be, it's not in the state where I could call it untouched. Someone or something is definitely out there. I might not be an expert at tracking smells or sounds, but if there's one advantage I have over the average person, it's this. Okay, what is it? Did you see something? Yeah, I think so. There's a fair distance between us, but I definitely see something. Well then, what are we waiting for? Lead the way. Having gained my partner's consent, I begin to follow the irregularities in the ether flowing around us. Truthfully, it's not much to go on. The amount of ether being absorbed or used by our target seems to be minimal, and I haven't observed any notable fluctuations. But if I didn't know any better, I'd say they were purposefully being as discreet as possible so as to avoid detection. Are they weakening the impact of their feet on the ground perhaps, or manipulating the wind so as to displace their scent and lure us away? Our target seems to be trying pretty hard not to get caught. But whatever kind of spell they're casting, they clearly weren't expecting to encounter someone who can see ether. The longer we follow the trail, the easier it's becoming to see where they've gone. Okay, it shouldn't be much further now. I'll keep an eye on the trail, but I won't be able to focus on casting any offensive or defensive spells at the same time. I hate to ask you this, but could you... I'll prepare for combat and protect my partner at all costs. Wow, someone's taking this seriously all of a sudden. Okay, I'll let you know when we're about to make contact. Stay close, I only have a vague idea of where they're hiding, so we can't be too careful. Understood. As we encroach upon the source of the irregularity, my partner and I both begin to slow down. Up ahead, I can see a mass of ether, the body of whoever or whatever it is that we're tracking. Situated toward the top of a sturdy tree, the mass moves only slightly, as if reacting to the presence of my partner and I. It knows that we're here, and it's watching us from above. Stealth is no longer an option. We need to lure it down and see what we're dealing with. I turn toward my partner, just enough to see them out of the corner of my eye. Even if our target isn't moving right now, I can't afford to fully take my eyes off them. Our target is at the top of this tree. Draken, can you... Got it, one fireball coming right up. What? No fireballs! Oh, here we go. A big hunk of singed fur hits the ground hard a few meters in front of us. A moment later, I see a vague figure leap from one tree to the next, frantically fleeing from Dragon and I. It's getting away. Let's go. But the fire? Dragon runs off in the direction of the fleeing monster. Meanwhile, I stay behind just long enough to put out the fire she started before it can spread. Oh wow, we found something. After putting out the fire, I give chase, soon catching up to Dragon. There you go, Sable. About time you caught up. The monster is around here somewhere, but I'm having difficulty narrowing down its exact location. Just when I think I've found it, it jumps into another tree, and I lose track of it again. Can you track it again, please? Okay, give me a sec. But no fire this time. Use something that's not going to destroy the forest. What? You're asking a dragon to not use fire. Can you do it? I mean, I guess. Good enough. I looked toward the treetops, once again scanning the forest for signs of life. Rather than seek out the monster's ether signature, however, I instead searched for notable irregularities in the ether flowing around the upper levels of the trees. Surely enough, thanks to Dragon's constant antagonism, the stealth and caution displayed by the target earlier has been thrown to the wind. I can see its current position as clear as day. Without saying a word, I point toward the monster. Dragon understands my gesture immediately, and quietly begins to chant a spell. Unlike before, what surges forth from Dragon's body is not fire. Instead, what I see is a black, pulsating sphere, the sight of which immediately throws my mind back to my first day at Amadronia. It couldn't be. That spell is... Before I can mull over the obscure sight before me, Dragon finishes casting the all-too-familiar spell. Focusing on the exact point of the irregular mass of ether, Dragon creates a powerful, attractive force, pulling the monster and its perch toward the ground. A moment later, a loud thud rings throughout the forest, and a human-sized clump of fur hits the ground at a frightening speed. Damn, that ought to do it. Let's go see what I caught. Wait a second. What's wrong? Dragon, that spell you used. If I didn't know any better... Oh, that. Yeah, we can talk about that later. Come on, let's hurry before it gets away again. Brushing off my question, Dragon runs over to the point of impact. Even with my mind elsewhere, I hurry after her, soon finding myself in front of a small crater in the ground. Wow, Dragon didn't hold back at all. I almost feel sorry for the monster. Being targeted by a dragon must be terrifying. At the centre of the crater is a pile of leaves and branches, covering what appears to be a mound of fur. No sooner have I laid eyes upon it, however, the fur recedes, replaced instead by what appears to be human skin. Whatever form the monster once took, it's now returned to a more human appearance. So the monster is a demi-human after all. Well, I expected as much from the beginning. If there really was a magic beast around here, it would have been disposed of already. Now, let's see what we're dealing with. Exercising caution, I stay half a step behind Dragon as we approach the point of impact. Despite the fact that the monster has stopped moving, we both realise that it could awaken and lash out at any moment. Okay, perhaps I should use fire after all? Is it okay if I burn away the leaves and branches covering the prey? Absolutely not! Reacting to Dragon's proposal, the monster begins to move. It quickly stands up, shaking off the foliage which previously obstructed the view. Now, in clear view, the monster glares at us, receiving gazes of astonishment in return. Instructor, you're the monster? It might be an imitation. I should burn it, just to make sure. Stop it. Stop with the fire. For crying out loud, I'll get you a dragon, but give the incineration a break. Coco breathes a heavy sigh as she massages her sore muscles. After plummeting from such a height, especially under the weight of Dragon's spell, even a veteran hunter like Coco couldn't escape injury completely. Wow, you two are really something else, you know that? It's good to take tests seriously and all, but don't you think you went a little overboard? Considering we didn't know that this was a test, I'd say that we acted rather appropriately. I'm still not completely convinced that this was a test. Of course it was a test. Do you really think I'd send you out here and hide myself in the forest if I wasn't? You would, if you planned to assassinate us. Whoa, easy there. Since when have you been so suspicious of others? She's been stalking us and watching us from the treetops since shortly after we arrived. I think a bit of suspicion is warranted. Okay, fair. So, now that the monster's been captured, what happens now? Beats me. The exercise was supposed to take at least half of the day. Instead, you caught me in half an hour. Really, how the hell did you track me down so quick? Is this some kind of special technique that only dragons know about, or some trait they possess? No, my nose is pretty good, and I probably could have tracked you down after a while myself, but I can't take the credit. Sable was the one who tracked you down, not me. The human did it? How? I thought my camouflage was pretty good. You're a fourth-year student, right? You should know by now that all spells leave traces behind, no matter how skilled the caster is. Wow, so I was just careless. I thought you were going to tell me you used some elaborate spell I'd never heard of before. Without actually lying, I managed to put the blame back on Coco without rousing her suspicion. I guess we're just going to have to head back to the academy then. What a waste. I even prepared all kinds of traps for you two. Back to the academy already? But I want to go into town and see what the human city's like. Sorry, kiddo, no can do. You're right here to learn about the hunt, not to play around in some human city. Now, back to the academy we go. Instructor's orders. Without waiting for any possible rebuttal, Coco begins to hobble off, still somewhat injured from our brief chase. She's acting tough, but it's clear that she isn't feeling well enough to continue our game of hide and seek. Oh man, we're this close to the city, and yet we can't even take a look around. Why do the other two get to have all the fun? Fun's not a word I would use to describe the day those two must be having. Believe me, those two would have preferred to have come with us to hunt the monster rather than spend the day asking random strangers about it. Yeah, I guess. Even if it isn't today, I still want to go and check the city sometime. You did promise to escort me around the human city after all. I keep telling you, I didn't do that. Then promise me now. Sable, the next opportunity we get, I want you to spend the day showing me around. Sure, why not? Sighing in resignation, I shrug my shoulders and offer a non-committal response. I'm not going to make any promises, but I suppose an outing like that isn't completely out of the question. I do have plenty of free time now after all, so I guess a trip to the city once in a while wouldn't... Sable! Dragon suddenly draws close, bringing her face to within an inch of mine. This is gonna be great, you and me, two best buds, exploring territory never before ventured by dragonkind. I'm gonna start making preparations as soon as we return to the academy, so be prepared to deploy at a moment's notice, okay? No, but all I said was... I plead weakly to the empty space in front of me as Dragon runs off in the direction of the instructor. Taking my lack of commitment as a promise, it seems Dragon now plans on going to the city with me after all. Oh, we got through the hunt in one piece, not too bad. Upon returning to Amadronia, I'm taken straight to the principal's office. As the first group to complete our job for the day, my partner and I, along with the instructor, are the first to report our success to the principal. Despite the fact that we bear good news, however, we are greeted by a complicated expression on Iron's face. Already? This can only mean that something went tragically wrong or equally right. That's an odd way to put it, man. Can't you just say something like, as expected of my wonderful students? Not without hearing the details, no. Iron shoots Coco a skeptical glance. Hey, don't look at me like that. I didn't screw up, they're just too good, okay? Those two possibilities are not mutually exclusive. How rude. I'll have you know that I perform my duties with exceptional stealth and precision. And yet you've been caught in record time. Wow. Coco slumps her shoulders as Iron refuses to allow her to brush off her failure. It can't be helped, okay? A human's one thing, but a dragon? Seriously? Wow, I didn't really do that much. Sable's the one who tracked you down. I just followed his instructions. Please don't be so modest, Dragon. You're going to give people unrealistic expectations of me. Hold on a sec. Sable, what did you do? Your partner claims that you were responsible for Coco's capture, yet the monster herself says otherwise. Might I hear your take? I did the tracking. My partner did all the work. I did the tracking. I didn't do any of the actual capturing, but it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I was responsible for tracking the target down. I used the tracking spell, then coordinated with my partner so that she could bring our target under control. I see, so you took on the role of a tracker, leaving the actual confrontation to your partner. That's a wise decision, considering your specialization. You don't need to dance around the issue, dude. I'm weak, and I lack combat experience, I'm aware. Setting aside the matter of awarding commendations, the question now is what to do with you lot. Iron's expression and tone of voice suddenly shift. Iron consciously straightening up as he looks at us three in turn, as though weighing up our potential usefulness. Upon finishing a mission early, I would ordinarily send you all off to join another party, which is low on members. However, the other parties are all teams of second-year students and higher, meaning that they're engaging in tasks unsuitable for a first-year student. Staring at me directly as he makes his assertion, Iron continues. You see, we typically give newcomers easy, non-violent jobs, such as settling trivial disputes or gathering information. As a half-dragon, I'm sure Dragon will be able to hold her own amongst the higher grades, but my concerns do not apply to her. As for you, Sable, losing patience with Iron's roundabout explanation, I sigh audibly. Just spit it out. If you want me to stay here, I'll stay. If you have something else in mind, I'll consider that too. So stop dancing around my inexperience and say it. Quite feisty for a first year, aren't you? Do not misunderstand. I might be addressing you, Sable, but my explanation is not for your sake alone. Primarily, it's for your partner. Me? What's it got to do with me? I'm just following Sable around. I'm not going anywhere on my own. My point exactly. So you want Dragon to go, but you'll be worried about my safety if we do. Precisely. Coco will be leaving regardless, but the two of you may choose whether you wish to go or not. What do you think? I know you've only just gotten back, but clearly a mere trial was not enough for you. Would you like to test yourself for real, and to make a meaningful contribution while you're at it? Despite my urge to immediately decline, I restrain myself for a moment as I consider the principal's proposal. While it's true that I'd rather spend my free time at the academy, this matter's not so simple. If I decline now, I'll miss out on gaining valuable experience, which might make future hunts proceed much more smoothly. Furthermore, I'll get the chance to work with senior students of varying races, allowing me to learn new kinds of demi-humans firsthand. Finally, there's the matter of my partner and what she wants to do. I don't know what to say. It's hard to decide without knowing what we'll be doing. What kind of job are we talking about? Okay, good question. There are a few places I could send you if you're so inclined. In other words, he's making this up as he goes along. Can we talk about it after lunch? I don't really want to head out again on an empty stomach. Smiling wryly, I look at Ein with an apologetic expression on my face. You heard her. Lunch first, then we'll talk. Yeah, okay, very well. It was only an offer anyway. If you don't want to go, I'm not going to force you. Great, no more boring work talk. Come on, Sable, I'll race you to the cafeteria. Yeah, okay, I'm coming. I don't see why we need to race, though. Now, you should be honoured. There aren't many who can claim to be best friends with a dragon. Best friends might be pushing it. We're just acquaintances, that's all. Really? Doesn't look that way to me. But if that's how you feel... Oh crap. A smirk appears on Ein's face, warning me that he's just come up with something else he wants me to do or say. Given that she's merely an acquaintance of yours, surely you wouldn't mind blowing her off in order to do something a little more important. Narrowing my gaze, I stare at Ein skeptically. Just tell me. Okay, no need to get mad. If you wouldn't mind, I was hoping that you could return to the city when the bus service is scheduled to pick up your fellow first years. Return? What for? The moment I ask for an explanation, Ein hurriedly averts his eyes. Oh, I get it. You want me to explain to Lisha and Nam why they wasted the entire day searching for a non-existent monster? Correct. This irresponsible guy. I'm not refusing, but would you at least give me a good reason why I should go? Because your magnificent leader asked you to? A magnificent leader would take responsibility for their decision and not force the job onto somebody else. I disagree. A good leader knows how and when to delegate tasks to their followers. And this, I'm afraid, is one of those times. I simply stare at Ein bemusedly, unwilling to play along with his mischief any longer. In all seriousness, Sable, I do want you to be the one to tell them. You've already seen for yourself how little Lisha and Nam think of Kokiri and I. If one of us were to tell them, they would surely lose what little faith they have in those leading them. Ein's answer is still not one I can agree with, but is certainly a step up from his previous explanation. Sighing in resignation, I prompt him for more information. Fine, I understand why you don't want to tell them, but do you really think that me telling them is going to soften the blow? Yeah, I do. While they might not openly show it, Nam and Lisha both seem quite interested in you. If anyone can make them see the value of today's outing, it's you. What do you mean by interested exactly? Oh, that's the part that caught your attention, is it? I mean exactly what I said. They like you. You interest them. Yeah, but... Oh, I get it now. I thought you were only interested in academics, but it seems you're a teenage boy after all. You're wondering about the extent of my daughter's interest in you, am I right? Actually, I was worried about the extent of Nam's interest in me. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, kiddo, but my daughter has no interest in that kind of thing. Even back at our village, she never once showed any inclination toward romance and the like. If her own kind elicited no response, then a human such as yourself has little chance. That's not what I was getting at. I get it, I'm not an elf, I'm no good. With that being the case, I might as well be the one to give her the bad news about today's outing, okay? You're overthinking this, Sable. Those two matters are completely unrelated. Of course, if you do want to see more of her, then I should still go, albeit for a different reason. Funny how every path leads to me doing your dirty work. It's a coincidence, I assure you. With my patience wearing thin, I turn away from the principal and head toward the door once more. Okay. Sorry. We're hanging out with Draken. Sorry, sir, but I've already got plans. You'll need to find somebody else to cover for you. Very well, I'm not going to ask you again. Though I do wish you'd stop making it sound like I'm in the wrong here. Aren't you? Not the way I see it, no. Remarks like that make it hard for me to feel bad about turning down Ein's invitations. Okay, off you go then. Enjoy your lunch date with the half-dragon girl. Best not to keep a girl waiting, especially one who can turn you into cinders. Rather than take Ein's bait by refusing his claim that Dragon and I are going on a lunch date, I do as Ein says. I turn around, walk toward the door once more, and leave his office at last. Okay, lunchtime, finally. By the time I arrive in the cafeteria, Dragon has already selected a table and is sitting with a tray of food in front of her. The moment Dragon catches sight of me, her eyes immediately light up and she quickly waves me over. Damn, took you long enough. Are you really that slow? So much for having a race. Even if I did choose to run, it's not like I could beat you. My body's made for sitting and reading. Exercise is really on the agenda. Okay, that's not good. If you don't get enough exercise, you're gonna get fat. Are you kidding? I eat like a sparrow. If anything, I'll probably die of malnutrition. That's worse. Here, have some of mine, you're hungry, right? Dragon slides her tray toward me. There's far more food on her tray than I could ever see myself eating. Even if I was sharing with somebody, I wouldn't dare order so much. As expected of a dragon, it seems her body requires a great deal of fuel compared to a human being of the same size. Thanks for the offer, but I don't want to deprive you. I'll just order a sandwich or something, okay? Without saying a word, Dragon picks up a spoon and scoops up some of the soup in her bowl. Then she brings it to my mouth, prompting me to open wide. Oh come on, I'm not a child. I don't need to be fed like this. On the other hand, if Dragon's willing to go this far, I open my mouth, allowing Dragon to place the spoon into my mouth. Then I close my lips as she pulls the spoon out, trapping the spoon's contents in my mouth. How was it? It was good, right? Okay, yeah, it does taste good. I actually prefer lighter foods, so soup is often a good choice. Good to hear, I'll make a note. Why would you take a note of my food preferences? For when we go on our big date in the city, of course. I told you I was going to start preparing as soon as we return to the academy, didn't I? Finding out more about your likes and dislikes is key preparation for our date. Okay, while I appreciate the sentiment, I don't think you should throw around the word date so liberally. Oh, why not? A boy and a girl spending the day alone together, having fun and going places? Isn't that a date? I mean, I guess so, when you put it like that, but don't you want to go on a date with me? Dragon looks at me with obvious disappointment strewn across her face. The moment I look at her face, pain suddenly emanates from my chest, as though punishing me for daring to make such a happy and carefree girl sad. It's not that I particularly dislike the idea or anything, it's just, when a boy and a girl go out on a date, there are certain implications. Implications? Like what? Don't make me say it, please. You know, like romance and stuff. Romance? You mean we can't go on a date unless I take you as my mate? You don't have to go that far with it. I'm just saying that when two people go on a date, it usually means that they have that kind of relationship. It's not a prerequisite or something, but if people hear you're dating, it's what they're going to assume. Oh, so that's what you meant. In that case, what's the problem? I don't want to avoid doing something just because people might think strange things about me. Given the trouble you've already caused your classmates, it doesn't surprise me. But are you sure about this? Being feared by your classmates is a bit different than them thinking of you as well, you know, the kind of person who dates lots of people. Lots of people? I don't do that. You're the one I want to date, Sable. I don't care about anybody else. My heart jumps in my chest as I listen to Dragon's casual confession. Even though I know she didn't mean it that way, it's still enough to turn my face red. No more excuses, Sable. The next time we have a free weekend, we're going on a date, no matter what people say. Sounds good. Okay, if you're sure that's what you want, yeah, I'll go with you. Then it's a date. Sable and Dragon, human and dragon, a young couple, taking their relationship to a whole new level. You're doing that on purpose, aren't you? Breathing a sigh of resignation, I stand up and turn toward the counter, finally preparing to order my own food. As I do so, I can't help but notice that Dragon has begun to eat once more, starting with her soup. Casually placing her spoon in her mouth, Dragon seems to pay no mind to the fact that I used the same spoon mere moments ago. Indirect kiss. Dragon, what's up? You know that you can ask for additional cutlery, right? Additional cutlery? Why? One fork, spoon, knife, more than enough. Anything extra is a waste. Yeah, but I just used that spoon, so... Isn't it like an indirect kiss? I barely managed to squeeze those embarrassing words out of my mouth, paying extra care so as not to be heard by the people around me. Despite my embarrassment, however, and the words I've just spoken, Dragon doesn't seem troubled in the slightest. Oh, okay. What's an indirect kiss? Oh, come on, you're a smart girl, Dragon. Just put the words together. Oh, so how should I put it? You know what a kiss is, don't you? Yeah, I know. Well, because we used the same spoon, without it being washed. My saliva might have still been on the spoon when you put it in your mouth, so... Oh, what the hell? I didn't think about that at all. I didn't clean the spoon before feeding you either, so... Oh man, I can't believe I did something so shameful. Dragon, calm down. I know it's embarrassing, but it isn't worth getting upset about. Maybe not for a human, but for mankind, intimacy is kind of a big deal. Kisses are usually saved for sacred covenants or bonding rituals. It isn't something we take lightly. Oh wow, this is bad, like real bad. If Mama finds out about this, she's gonna kill you for sure. Kill me? Because I had some soup? You know what, forget I said it. My saliva was probably washed away with the soup anyway. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. And even if it wasn't, it's not like anybody else has to know. It can be our little secret, okay? Yeah, sure. Sounds good to me. Though I'm pretty sure every single person in the cafeteria has overheard the conversation by now. Well, I'm gonna go back to eating now. Maybe you should go buy your own lunch after all. Yeah, it's probably for the best. Still red in the face, Dragon goes back to eating. Taking small, hesitant bites, she nibbles on everything apart from the soup. Every time she so much as glances at the bowl of soup, Dragon quickly averts her gaze, and then hurriedly starts eating something else. But this is a surprise. I never expected Dragon to react like this. She's usually so carefree and dismissive, nothing ever seems to rattle her. Who would have thought that a little bit of saliva would be such a big deal for her? Counting my blessings that her mother isn't present, I head to the counter and buy a pre-packed sandwich. Cheap, easy, portable, no wasting of time. The perfect meal for a sparrow such as myself. Sandwich in hand, I return to Dragon's side and take a seat next to her. In the short time that I've been gone, half the food has vanished from her tray. Most notably, however, her soup bowl is now empty. Oh, Dragon. Please don't tell Mama. The being who would kill me in an instant if she found out? Believe me, you don't have to worry about me telling her anything. But if you don't mind me asking, please don't. Actually, I don't think I want to know. This is already far too much for a former shutting like myself. I'm just gonna file this under weird things that dragons do and eat my lunch in silence. Oh wow, we had that indirect kiss for real. Ever since Dragon and I went on our first hunt together, not a day has gone by without her reminding me of our promise. In spite of the fact that I clearly explained my intentions to Dragon, she seems to have convinced herself that we're going to be going to the city, and nothing I can say has any effect on her at all. Whether I like it or not, it seems like I'm going to be going to the city with Dragon, and that's final. Thanks to the fact that Dragon needs to take classes, and we're both signed up to participate in the hunt, we haven't actually gotten the chance to leave the academy just yet. By the time our classes are finished for the day, it's too late to make the trip to the city, and on the weekend, we're expected to follow Coco's instruction until we're dismissed, leaving us with very little free time. As a result, many weeks have passed since our first hunt together. We've put off our trip to the city time and time again, always bowing to the academy's rules and regulations. Today, that finally comes to an end. The moment I finish eating breakfast, I head out to the courtyard. While there still are a few people around, most likely those involved with the hunt who haven't set out yet, the courtyard's more or less empty. Thanks to that, I'm able to locate my companion for the morning with ease. Yo, Sable. Morning. You're here early. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too much. Nah, only half an hour or so. Wow, half an hour. Was the cafeteria even open half an hour ago? Not exactly. You know what? I'm not going to ask. So, now that we've finally been given time off from the hunt, are you ready to hit the city? You know it. I've been practicing my transformations every day, just waiting for this moment. I've also been saving up my allowance from the academy, so I've got plenty of spending money. Today's going to be awesome. Oh wow, that's great. I didn't realise this was such a big deal to you. Of course it is. My best buddy and I, exploring a human city together, what could possibly be more exciting? A lot of things. For those of us who grew up in human cities, yeah. Despite my own disinterest in exploring the city, I begin to get swept away by Dragon's enthusiasm without realising it. The thought of refusing her invitation has already left my mind, and our trip to the city is now inevitable. I suppose it's not like I have anything special planned for today anyway. One question though, how are we going to get there? The train station is a fair distance from here, and if we take the train, we're going to end up wasting most of the day in transit. The train station. Oh, the home of the metal snake-like things filled with humans. Well, I would like to try riding in one of those, but today I've got other plans. I'm going to need your help to put it off though. My help? How can I help us get to the city? As if waiting for me to ask that question, Dragon immediately takes me by the hand and leads me to the entrance of the academy. We continue walking away from campus until we're completely alone and out of sight. Okay, this should be far enough. Sable, can you hold this for me? Dragon hands me a small backpack and then hides behind a large tree. Figuring Dragon might want a moment of privacy, I stay right where I am, rather than try to sneak a peek. Instead, I satisfy my curiosity by shaking the backpack she'd just given me, intrigued by what I'm holding. The backpack is as light as it is small, and upon shaking it, I hear nothing but fabric rustling. Is this a change of clothes? But why would she? Before I can even complete that thought, I quickly reach the most obvious conclusion. Dragon doesn't want people to know she's a student of Amadronia. Right, no matter how perfect her transformations are, she's still demi-human. Dressing in Amadronia's uniform would only attract unnecessary attention. Maybe I should change too. Okay, I'm almost ready. Sable, I need you to listen to me carefully. Without coming out from behind the tree, Dragon speaks to me. There's a clear embarrassment in her voice, and I can guess exactly what she's going to ask me. You want me to hand you your change of clothes without looking? If that's the case, why did you even ask me to hold these? No, not yet, that's next. Before that, I need to instruct you on something. I haven't done this before, and I wouldn't want you to get hurt because of my inexperience. Filled with all kinds of the wrong kinds of curiosity and anticipation, I wait for Dragon to continue. Even as both of our hearts are beating frantically, Dragon speaks to me, her voice quickening with nervousness and embarrassment. Soon, her voice is not all I take in. From the side of the tree, I catch a glimpse of her tail, and on the other side I see a claw. I gulp anxiously as her body slowly comes into view. However, despite my shameful expectations, what comes next is a thrill completely different to what I'm expecting. I can't believe it. That's it. We are riding and we are gonna go on our date. So this is gonna be a new adventure for us, and we're gonna check it out in the next episode. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.